Good morning, everyone. By the way, I'm Maria P. Lumongo, connected at Colegio de San Francisco Javier Incorporated, Rizal, Zamboanga del Norte. My topic is all about budgeting. What is budgeting? The term budgeting refers to the process of budget planning and preparation, budgetary control, and related procedures. The formal presentation of the plan is called budget. Budget is a written statement of income and expenditure during the year. It covers all the items of work to be taken up over a specified period of time in the future. Thus, an overall budget covering the institution as a whole is also known as a master budget. A library budget is an estimate of expected income and expenditure of the library for the coming year. Budgeting is usually done on a yearly basis. The librarian is expected to submit the budget estimate in the pro forma approved by the institution on the basis of the past experience, present demands, and future expectations of the requirement. So, as a librarian, if you don't have enough money to do everything you'd like to do, then you can use this planning process to prioritize your spending needs and focus the money on the things that are most important to the librarian. We need to balance the library income and expenses to avoid problems. Objectives of library budgeting: to predict library's future services cost, and other costs to achieve desired goal, to anticipate library's financial condition and the future needs for funds with a view to keeping the library active and up to date, to coordinate the efforts of different departments of the library towards the common objectives, to accelerate the efficiency of operations of different divisions and departments of the library, to fix responsibilities of different departmental heads, to have effective control over the library's funds, and to facilitate centralized control over the library through the budgetary reports. Budget affecting factors: the size of the library collection, staff, user and service points, location, kinds of library services, types of users, rising cost, and period covered 1 year more. Here are the types of budgeting. First line item budgeting, second lump sum budgeting, formula budgeting, performance budgeting, program budgeting, planning programming budgeting system or PPBs, zero-based budgeting or ZBB, and the last is strategic budgeting. The line item budget is the most commonly used kind of budget. Each line is increased a little each year. No question are asked. This type of budget is easy to prepare and project each unit is detailed. This is my example. In the first column, the wages and salaries, books, journal, databases, IT hardware, and miscellaneous. Second is lump sum budget. A certain amount of money is allocated to the library. The library is given the necessary freedom to decide as to how the amount is going to be allocated to different categories. The lump sum budget type refers to very general, not specific. The budget might group together into one round figure. For instance, there might be 50,000 in a research project category. This broad category could include salary, travel, and equipment depending on the specific project that is eventually funded. This is my example. Third, formula budget. In formula budget, predetermined standards are applied for allocation of money. Such a budget is technical and easy to prepare. It does not require special skill to prepare the same. The levels of funding can be calculated on the basis of number of student size and level of academic programs and the level of publication of educational materials. Fourth, performance budget. The concept of performance budget is not very old, rather it is new one, which was originated in the years around 1960s. Later on, it became quite popular in many government departments outside the United States of America. Now, the performance budget is being used in business and other organizations also. Performance budget gives justification and description of the extent of services to be achieved by means of the proposed program. The resources like men, materials, and money required to fulfill the proposed program during the next fiscal year are described. In this type of budget, it includes labor technical services like cataloging, material processing, automation, recruitment, talent engagement, and other library services. Fifth, program budget. It is concerned with activities. The budget is to be prepared on the basis of program or services program. It is somewhat similar to the line item type budget, that each program in the budget program appears separately and is broken out in categories similar to the line item type budget. This is my example of program budget. PPBS is a technique which takes into consideration the best of program budgeting and the best of performance budgeting. The important steps in PPBS are identifying the objectives of the library, presenting alternative ways to achieve those objectives with cost-benefit ratios presented for each, identifying the activities that are necessary to each program, and evaluating the results so that corrective actions can be taken. PPBS enables the authorities to be able to examine the programs in proper perspective. As a consequence, they would be able to realize the effects of reducing or increasing the funding. 7. Zero-Based Budget or ZBB. ZBB was developed by Peter Fire to achieve greater effective planning and fiscal control. ZBB requires that cost of current and new programs be justified at the beginning of each budgetary cycle. The library manager is expected to look for services and activities of the library which can be offered at funding levels below the current one at the current level. The resulting programs or packages are then arranged in priority order from top to bottom with their cost. At the point where expected or actual funds run out, programs below the line are dropped entirely. The request for financial support for every program and activity is, therefore, worked out on fresh basis every year without reference to the past. It does not take into account kung ano ang nangyari sa nakaraan, but emphasize the current activities. It requires that all programs and operations at all levels be identified in decision packages, evaluated, and ranked in priority order. All expenses must be justified for each new period. The process starts from a zero base, and every function within an organization is analyzed for its needs and costs. And lastly, strategic budgeting. Strategic budgeting is comparatively newer concept of budgeting and is used as a look of resource allocation to various strategic business units of an organization. Under strategic budgeting and determining the resource needs of various units, the basic question that is put in is what sort of performance and results does the organization want to generate? This should be followed by another question. What are key activities, organizational units, tasks, and jobs needed to be set up and organized to produce these results? The answer suggests the kinds of skills, expertise, and funding which will be needed to allow the various organizational units to accomplish the designated results. Therefore, jobs and tasks should be defined in terms of the desired strategic results and performance rather than in terms of the functions to be performed. Specific objectives should be developed not only for the organization as a whole, but for each major organizational submit and through the efforts of subordinate managers for each job. This type of budget is the process of creating a long-range budget that spans a period of more than 1 year. Allocation of budget. The success of a library largely depends upon the sound principle of allocation of budget to the different heads. That's all for today, and thank you for listening.